Hi, Cydney Sullivan from Bestseller Success and Celebrity Publishing here with another training. And this is a frequently asked question that people are often come to me with, which is what kind of publishing should I do with my book? Should I self-publish? Because nowadays there's a lot of great platforms where you can actually get your book out to large audiences completely on your own, very little effort. The danger with that is that you may not realize, you may not know what you don't know about how your book needs to be professionally written, formatted, how your covers should look, and reasons why covers are designed certain ways. And that book actually might hurt your brand instead of helping, okay? So that is the danger of self-publishing. But if you are interested in being a self-published author, there's a few advantages about that, to do that, and I'll tell you why. Another way that you can publish these days is by using a hybrid publisher, which I would class our business as a hybrid publisher. We're a full publishing business. We actually help our clients write, we help them plan their books, write their books, we help them plan the business beyond the book. We help them get it completely published, the book covers. We put it on Amazon, on Ingram. We do pretty much everything that the big name publishers do. We can get them into the bookstores. We can help you, introduce you to PR and media people, set up social media campaigns. We can do all of that, but we tend to be more of an elite service provider. So we give you a lot more one-on-one coaching. We work with you on a lot more personal level. And we're more about what's the business we're building with this book than we are about just pumping books out. We only work with about 100 clients a year. And we've got a whole team in place to make sure that our clients get the best result when they work with us. That's our goal when we work with anyone. So, and of course that has a lot to do with the client setting the right goals when we start and articulating those goals with us so that we all are working towards the same outcome. And then there's the other possibility, which is you can submit a proposal generally through a literary agent. They'll have a look at your book proposal, your idea for a book, or if you've already written it, they'll have a look at your book, and then they will tell you whether they think it's ready to go to the major publishers, you know, the big names like, say, Hay House, Simon & Schuster, and Wiley and Sons, for instance. Penguin. There's a lot of these big publishers out there that you would have heard of, and you've probably got lots and lots of their books in your library because they're putting out thousands and thousands of books a year. They've been in business for a very long time. They're well-oiled machines. So I'll talk about the pros and cons of each one just very briefly from my experience, which is limited because I haven't done a lot with the big publishers. So I'll give you that disclaimer right up front. I always make it available as an option. I have relationships with all these big publishers and with some of the world's top literary agents. So I'm happy to help you write a book proposal and submit it. But I'll tell you why a lot of my clients generally don't go down that path and why I haven't had a lot of experience with it. And it has to do with control and time. So I'll make sure I cover that. Starting with self-publishing, which is where I started this talk, and I know that it's the cheapest option. You can open a free account with Amazon through their Kindle KDP if you want to just do digital books, or through CreateSpace, which is Amazon's publishing division that they purchased, a company called CreateSpace, and integrated it. And that's where you put your printed books on. You can also publish through a website called Smashwords, which is wonderful because they will help you get your books distributed, just digital books, but they'll help you get the digital book, which might be your, you know, the difference between a digital. That's the ones that you would read on your computer or on your phone or your iPad or Kindle, right? So those are the digital books. Printed books, you know, those are the ones that people never throw away. That's one of the reasons we love printed books. And I recommend that you have digital and printed. But for some purposes, it's enough to have just a digital book. And in another training, I'll take you through how I've used digital books for myself and my clients. And a lot of my mentors and some of our high-end clients have used digital books alone to generate hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars in their businesses because they're a great conversation starter or lead generation tool. So you can actually create a digital book and you can put it out on something like Smashwords, and there's other sites like that that will do the distribution for you. They'll get them out on all the different websites. So that's kind of cool, and it doesn't cost anything to have an account, or it's very, very low cost. And they'll usually get paid by taking a percentage of the book sales of whatever price you put your book on. Now, the challenge with being a self-published author is that, first of all, you've got to find all the professional formatters, book cover designers, people to lay your book out properly so that it displays properly on all the different digital devices, it prints in a professional way. You might not know all the things that you need to know to get that done properly. So those are my first words of warning. Then the other thing is actually knowing how to promote your book. And this is a whole science in itself. So when you're a self-published author, it can be a bit defeating because you go to all this trouble. You write this book, you get it formatted, you get it printed or published, and then you don't know how to promote it and get it in front of people. So that's probably the biggest limiting factor. Now, if you're a person who's really, really good at promotion and you know how to do promotion, then this probably isn't going to be a problem for you. But then you've got to think, is publishing books the best use of my time? We should all stay in our lane, right? So if you plug into someone like us, we have access to, at this point in time, we have access to about 500,000 emails that we can send our books out to when we publish them. So that's a major advantage to tapping into a hybrid publisher like us, is that we've developed relationships with people who like to read books. And I just want to put out there right away, I'm not talking about sending out promotions. We can do promotions for your printed books that are, at full retail price. But generally what we do is we've built relationships with huge Facebook communities, huge LinkedIn communities, and we'll do a big blast and get your book out at a great special price in the digital form usually. That's the easiest way to get your book out to lots and lots of people and start getting you, exposure and getting you bestseller status. Because Amazon will, if you start getting through a whole bunch of book sales in a short period of time, they'll start to put momentum behind your book, and they have all these very complicated algorithms in place. And nowadays there's even Amazon advertising that you can participate in. So if you're really serious about keeping that momentum going with your book, you can either pay people like us to keep promoting your book out to all of our readers, or you can advertise directly with Amazon or get our team to set up ads in place with Amazon so that they start driving traffic to your book, because Amazon is one of the greatest sales machines in the world. So not only do they let you sell your products on Amazon, the main distribution site for products and books, they now let you advertise your Kindle books as well and your printed books. And so why would you hire someone like us? We're a hybrid publisher. So that I've talked a little bit about the advantages of being a self-published author is that you have complete control. So you load those books on there. If you want to change anything, if you want to change the price or change your cover, you can do all of that yourself. You've got control over the account. So that'd probably be the main advantage. If you want to run promotions, you can get in there and tweak it and play around with it. If you don't have time for all of that, the reason a lot of people choose to use someone like us to help them with their publishing is, first of all, I'm a very, very experienced business mentor. I've made many millions of dollars in business and done lots and lots of book launches and worked with hundreds of clients who want to help take their expertise and turn it into a business. So you're going to get access to a whole team of mentors, business coaches, book coaches, promotions coaches. You get access to all these consultants that we've got on our team on a regular basis. And we're running training programs all the time. We run live trainings. So you're tapping into a mastermind, really. Not only are you getting expert help creating a professional book that looks good, that's promoted properly and planned properly and printed, with all the right professional formatting and everything, but you're also getting access to this great mentoring and mastermind team behind you to help you continue to grow, maybe put out more books, think about a book series. We look at it as a long-term relationship when we enter into a publishing process with one of our new clients. Then the other option is, and then of course you get access to our promotional networks, which we're constantly on the lookout, having discussions every week with people who have access to large databases that we can promote our clients to, because we have so many clients coming through now. Even at only 100 clients a year, that's a lot of books that we need to get promoted. So we're always adding to our distribution and promotional opportunities and network, more than you could probably do on your own. So that's the big advantage of plugging into a hybrid publisher and promoter. Now, the last option that I mentioned is going with one of the really big publishers. Now, if you already have a platform of your own, so one of the first things that a literary agent is going to ask you, or a major publisher, when you make a book proposal to them, they're going to ask you, what's your platform? How many followers do you have? Do you have a large Twitter following? Do you have a large Instagram following? Do you have, and we're talking, we're talking tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of followers is what they're looking for if they're going to sign you up as a client and help publish your book and put you into their very big, well-oiled machine. The advantage is they're more likely to get you into the bookstores because they have relationships with all the bookstores. And even though Amazon is the 600-pound gorilla now, and it's where we all want to have our books, and Ingram we also publish our clients' books on Ingram. That's another access to getting into the bookstores and into the libraries. The bookstores still are a big part of sales. So if you can get into the major bookstore networks, which we can also do through book distributors, if you want to get into a major publisher, though, there's a status that there can be in your industry. There might be a particular publisher that will give extra status and extra credibility to you as being chosen as one of their authors. So that's one reason why you might want to go with a major publisher. And honestly, when some of my clients come to me and I can see that they have a mass market offer that I could see being very, very media friendly, something that we could sell to thousands and millions of people, I will suggest to them that we pitch to one of the major publishers because it'll just give us more push behind it. But the publishers will want to see that you've got someone like me behind you who has a platform. I have hundreds of thousands of followers and a big mailing list. Or they'll want to see that you have that because, frankly, publishers are finding it just as hard as everyone else is these days to market because everything's moved online, and it's just as challenging for them as it is for us to get out in front of audiences. So they're looking for authors who are proven marketers and can help publish and promote their own books. In fact, what a lot of people don't know is that a lot of the publishers are actually making their money on selling large amounts of books to their customers. Quite often, the worst case scenario, and I don't want to alarm you, but worst case scenario is that they manage to get your books taken by a lot of the bookstores, and then the books get sent back and the publisher asks you to repay the advance they gave you or asks you to put in the money that they had to return to the bookstores. So that's kind of a worst case scenario, which is why you want an experienced literary agent to protect you when you're drafting up the contracts with a major publisher, just to make sure that there aren't any nasties in there that you didn't know about. So again, in this game, a lot of it is it's the stuff you don't know that could catch you up. And that's really what I wanted to create this training about, was to kind of give you an insight into how the industry works. So, and the major disadvantage with the large publishers is it can take a very long time compared to working with your own self-publishing team or your hybrid publishing team. We just got a book out to market in as little as 2 weeks. Our client was able to write his book very quickly. We went through, we gave it we did the heavy editing. I spent quite a bit of my own weekend going through and reading that book, with a fine-tooth comb. We got it edited very quickly. We managed to get it all beautifully formatted, cover designed, and out to market within 2 weeks because he wanted it he was a big public speaker and he wanted it for a major event. He wanted to be able to hold up his physical book. So we were able to do that very, very quickly. A major publisher very rarely is going to be able to turn a book around quickly. Usually there's going to be 3 to 4 months of evaluation back and forth with the literary agent to see if they think your book is a fit for them, whether they think they can publish it for you, whether you're the right kind of client, the right kind of author for them. So there's a few weeks to a few months of back and forth negotiation and evaluation, and then generally about 12 to 18 months, maybe even as much as 24 months for your book to actually come out to market because they have a lot of books in production. So they can't work as quickly as we can. And that's probably the number one reason that most of my clients choose to just have us publish and promote their books for them, because most of the people we work with are experts, they're speakers, they have a reason to get their book out in a timely way. They want to get their books out quicker to market. So when we've had a success with a book, even if you go with a hybrid publisher, you can generally go to a big publisher later on when you've had a successful book launch and you've been able to sell a lot of physical copies of the book, which you can do through your events, through marketing campaigns. you can quite often go to a mainstream publisher with that success, and they will then relaunch your book and add it to their portfolio. That's possible. Less likely when you self-publish. So that's the major disadvantage with self-publishing. Generally, if you self-publish, unless you've had extraordinary success with it, a publisher isn't going to take it on because they just don't, it's just not of a high enough caliber for them to go with self-published authors up to. Now, there are incredible success stories, so there's always the one that breaks every rule, and that is things like 50 Shades of Grey. That was already a successful, E.L. James already had a huge following, and a literary agent approached them. They had an online following of fan fiction readers that were showing a lot of interest in the books. So a literary agent went to them and pitched their book proposal idea to some of the big publishers and ended up negotiating a very, very successful publishing contract. So it took them straight from self-publishing the stories on fan fiction to the physical books, which was one of the greatest success stories in publishing history, became one of the most successful and biggest selling books series of all time. So please don't think that's going to be you unless you are extraordinary. You're going to need a very, very clever marketing campaign and a bit of budget to have success with your book. And that's where you need some clever marketers on your team. But the good news is that I have friends and clients and mentors that have been able to make millions of dollars with very, very clever strategic marketing campaigns. So if that's your goal, entirely possible, and we can show you how to do it. But if your goal is just to get your book written and published, we can help you do that on a very nice, tidy, small budget as well. So hopefully that's answered the questions that you might have about which way you should publish, and I'll see you in the next training.